Hello, here we come to part 2 of chapter 11, where we look at more third declension nouns. I encourage you, and I strongly encourage you to study section 11.11 to 11.15 in your book where these things are discussed. Be sure to read the footnotes. This is a third declension noun that you have not seen before, but it should look familiar in terms of its ending. All third declension nouns and most third declension nouns end with a tau or delta. Tau or delta. When a tau comes up against a delta, when a tau or delta comes up against a sigma, you know what happened? The sigma drops. So you are going to experience that quite a bit in this section, even though it is brief. So here we have the word charis for grace, but the stem of that word in the yellow there is charit. Charit. And we get the stem of the word from the genitive. So you look at the genitive, it's charitos. Charitos. So you take off the genitive ending, omicron sigma, and then you have the charit, which is the stem of the word. Now, how do we get charis in the nominative? The way we got charis is in the nominative, the case ending is what? Sigma. So in the nominative, you put the stem of the word charit, and then you add sigma to it. The tau drops, and then you have charis. We learned this again in chapter 10, so that should not be a problem. So you have charis, charitas, chariti. So the iota is not subscripted in the dative, and then charita. Just notice that the accusative singular ends with an alpha, and this is not a feminine noun because in Greek and in third declension nouns, no, charis is actually a feminine. So even though it's charita, it is feminine. Plural is charites, chariton, charisi. You know what happened there in the accusative, in the dative plural? The stem is charit, the dative plural ending is si. So you put the sigma next to the tau, it drops, so you have charisi. And then you have caritas as the accusative plural. Then here's another one, phos. The word phos means light and is neuter. Is neuter. In the nominative, it is phos, but in the genitive, it is photos. Photos. Why is that important? As you remember, it gives you the stem of the noun. So the stem is foot. Foot, as I put in the yellow there. Then you have foti, and then you have phos in the accusative singular. Because since it is neuter, the nominative and the accusative will be the same. So in the nominative, the stem foot comes up against the case ending sigma and the tau drops. The same thing in accusative singular, because in the neuter again, the nominative and accusative will be the same will look the same. Then you have phota, photon, phosi, phota. That should be good. So those are your two words, charit and foot, with stems ending. Hey, this is a word called, this type is called LPs. LPs. And you notice the stem ends in a delta, and you get the stem from the genitive singular. So genitive is elpidos. Now, when the stem is elpid in the nominative singular, when you add the sigma to the stem ending in the delta, you guess what happens, right? The delta disappears and you have the sigma. Again, just to explain the rules of third declension nouns. Here is one that we call pistis, faith. Pistis means faith is feminine, but the stem is pisti, pisti. What is going on here is the stem of pistis ends in an iota, and the word for that iota is consonantal iota. Consonantal aorta is an aorta that functions almost like a consonant. The history is complicated, so don't worry yourself too much about that. Just be able to recognize the forms of pistis. Notice that in the genitive singular and dative singular, the iota becomes epsilon, and in the plural, in all the forms, there is no iota that ends the stem. You have instead an epsilon. If you're interested, read the section in your book. Another form of third declension now, pater, it ends, the stem is patre, ends with a rho. Again, the stem comes from the genitive singular. Just get to be able to recognize these forms. Same with hudo, water. The stem is hudat, which means it ends with a tau. Where the omega comes from in the nominative singular, nobody knows. Maybe the alpha lengthened to omega, nobody knows. But everything else is basically normal. Just in summary, personal pronouns and their antecedents. Personal pronouns stand in the place of their antecedent, in the place of the noun that came before. First personal pronoun number two here, my, I, me, we, our, us. Second personal pronoun, you, your, and case. The case of the pronoun determines the function, tells you what function that pronoun is having in that sentence. But the number and the person is determined by the antecedent. I hope you found that to be clear. Try to memorize the paradigms as much as you can of first and second personal pronouns. Those you must memorize. But don't worry about the third declensional ones. But memorize the first and second person personal pronouns. That is all for now. You can go through the rest of the slides and practice your vocabulary. See if you can tell what the English words are, these words that I'm scrolling through here. Okay? You have a good time, and chapter 12 is self-explanatory. I hope you can read through it, but if I will see what to do just to point out a few things there for you that you need to know. Okay? Take care. Bye bye.